Hi Reddit recapped here. Today we are going to tell you a collection of stories titled Girls Who Have Rejected People. What's the worst way someone has taken it? Enjoy our community's stories. As always, stay safe and take care. My current girlfriend has a 6-inch cut on her left thigh after her ex assaulted her with a knife in an attempt to her. As they fought, she yanked out the knife and held it at his throat to force him off her. The is serving 7 years in prison. I have access to the student files. I know where you live. A few weeks later, there were reports of a guy looking into windows around my neighborhood. Thank God he got caught before he escalated to a BNE or worse. A guy on OkCupid had messaged me a few times, and I told him I wasn't interested. After the third time, I asked him not to message me again, and he threatened to track me down and anally me. He was also old enough to be my father, so there's that. I was 13 and I basically told this really old dude to screw off, while he was stopped at a light shouting me. Light went green. He speeds off, U-turns wildly, then comes speeding back and threatens to shoot me. Then there was this other guy at a concert who didn't take no for an answer. He pinned me against the wall and only scurried away, because the police crashed the concert at nearly the same moment. The worst one about that was my friends just watching it happen, doing nothing. He told me he had considered trying to get me pregnant so I would have to marry him. My ex told me that he wished he had done this when I was drunker, when I caught him taking the condom off halfway through sex to try to get me pregnant. The old "you're actually a dumb whore" who I didn't like anyway, after he wrote a letter expressing his feelings about me. I politely told him that he showed a lot of courage, but that I just wanted to be friends. Worst part, he was my work-study partner. I was 19 years old. Looking back, I should have contacted my boss, who would have done something about the work partnership. When I was a nanny, I was walking around with the baby in the pram, and we visited a bookshop. A man in there started talking to me, and then asked me out. Very kindly, keeping my father's advice in mind about being kind when I have to reject men when they ask me out, I said that was a nice offer, but my boyfriend might not be too keen on it. His response to that was to lean in and try and kiss me. I told him to get the off me. He then exploded with rage and started screaming in my face. I was saved by the bookstore employee. The man stormed out of the shop. I spent the next few hours shaking like a leaf. What a champion! He sent me an email with a 3-page essay attached. It was written entirely in third person, recounting his first rejection by a girl named Tanya at the age of 16. There were a lot of solitary beach walks, she's the perfect girl talk, him not talking no for answer, and the story eventually ends with him drinking antifreeze, slipping into a coma, hospitalized, and eventually recuperating. Only to tell poor Tanya that she could avoid his and his parents' pain by agreeing to date him. The email said, "So you know what you are getting into." I was 19 and did not see this extreme level of crazy coming, but knew I needed to really make how I felt clear. I immediately called him to reiterate that I do not want to be with him. I no longer want to be friends with him, and if he contacted me again, I would change my number. I let a friend of his know what was going on. 5 days later, he called from a different number to tell me he was out in the country, one with a gun to his head, and if I didn't agree to be with him then and there he was pulling the trigger. I lied and convinced him I had to leave because I had a family emergency, and sick in the hospital, but we would talk the next day. A mutual friend called him and reported back as is suspected he was full of shit. Sure enough, I was right, he was totally fine. He called the next day, and with the most sing-song creepy serial killer tone said, "You think you're so nice? What type of human being doesn't agree to what someone needs when they tell you they're going to kill themselves? You piece of shit." I lost the plot. Told him I'm changing my numbers, and the next time he contacts me it will be the police involved. He just laughed the whole time and told me he hopes I die alone, like I deserve. Radio silence for 6 years until I'm getting married. I got an email from him. Hey. Wow, it's been a while. How are you? Would be so great to catch up sometime, smiley face. Psychotic a**hole. Obviously I never replied and changed my email again. This marks the end of the collection of stories titled Girls Who Have Rejected People. What's the worst way someone has taken it? I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe to see more videos like this. Turn on your notifications and leave a comment to help the channel grow.